Before this video starts, I would like to give an introduction as well as a few disclaimers. If you just want to see Zato setups, then please skip to the time link on screen now, or watch the alternate version of this video without commentary. Still here? Cool. Hi, I am Howie and I go by the tag Dante Demons and I love puppet and set play characters. So when Zato-1 got announced for Guilty Gear Strive, you know I had to pick this game up. Disclaimer, I am not a professional Guilty Gear player. In fact, I am not even a legacy Guilty Gear player. My background is from other games, mainly the NetherRealm titles, but I have also dabbled in other games such as Scrambly Fantasy Versus and more recently Under Night In-Birth. This is my first competitive Guilty Gear title, so why should you trust me? Because I am a tech and labbing monster. I have done all of the hard work so that you don't have to. Since day one, I have been compiling every piece of tech from every top player and resource I can find, and I have spent over 100 hours in the lab, so you don't have to. What this video is not going to do: teach you how to play Zato on pad, teach you how to negative edge, be a full guide on the character, breaking down things such as neutral, normals, and specials. If you want to begin a guide on the basics of the character, how to negative edge, as well as how to do so on pad, I would strongly recommend you check out Beautiful Dude's Zato video that will be linked below along with other Zato resources. If you are after a more advanced and longer breakdown of everything Zato, from game plan to set play, and breakdowns of the execution required, then I would recommend Mark FGC's video that will also be linked below. This video is here as a compendium, a compilation of what I feel are useful setups, routes, and combos for Zato. Please note, a lot of this tech is not my own and is based off how pro players such as Gobo play the character, or tech from fellow lab monsters like Mark. If people want a version of this video where I show the combo again but in slow motion, or with an input display, then that can be arranged. Please let me know in the comments. Also, please note that not everything in this video will be optimal or max damage, and in a lot of cases routes have been made purposely easier so people can copy and pick up what they see quicker. As an example, you may see me using Drunken Shade in a lot of my Frog Loop combos instead of 2H. Yes, you don't need to tell me in the comments I can get more damage. I know. The reason I'm doing this is because it is more consistent and easier to execute. Anyway, time to start the Zato drills. And by drills, I do not mean 2-2 heavy slash or 236k. I mean army drills that you should have down to a T and be able to do and execute every time you are in training mode. First, we have basic use of eddy, slowly adding in and cancelling one eddy input into another, as well as negative edge. The goal of mid-screen pressure with eddy is to cover the gap between eddy's punches with a Zato move, thus creating legitimate gapless pressure. We now move on to basic sandwich pressure, using Drunken Shade to send eddy behind you and once again filling in the gaps with Zato buttons. For this pressure, if your inputs are fast enough, you can actually do this without negative edging. You can add overheads, lows, or the command grab into this pressure. Make sure the Drunken Shade is also hitting the blocking opponent, so that the pressure cannot be escaped. In some cases, you may need to micro-dash 5p to create truly gapless pressure. Of course, if they get caught and you combo off of it, you can end in Sword Oki if you prefer. But recently, a lot of players, including Gobo, who I deem to be the best Zato, have been ending in the sword going for the corner carry instead. Now if you remember the sword super ender corner carry I talked about earlier, here is an example of what happens if you don't hold K while doing it. You will want to hold K during the super, so right after Eddie turns into drills, so you can run up and continue pressure to the corner. This is an easier way to create sandwich pressure after a knockdown without the use of the more risky and gimmicky jump dust crosser. Like with the other setups, you can add in overheads, lows, and the command grab to catch out your opponent. Now he has sandwich pressure and confirms off 5 heavy slash into 236p dash purple Roman cancel, also known as RC drift. In this, we send Eddie behind the opponent straight after the first punch and create scary pressure that can be confirmed into a combo at any time. Also note that for all the Eddie pressure and combos you may see me doing 5p instead of 2p or vice versa. I just personally find 2p easier to confirm in some situations. For the combo you can also do a close heavy slash before the heavy slash, however it will scale to less damage. Now you've seen the basics of sandwich pressure. Here are some examples of adding and break the law into it where you cross underneath the opponent. Make sure to fill in the gaps of Eddie's punches, also known as his move Pierce, otherwise it is not legitimate. And you can of course come back out the same side to catch your opponent out if you think they're going to block the cross up, or should I say, cross under. And like any combos involving the frog loop route, you can go into sword oki. Speaking of sword oki, now we have some examples of what to actually do after the sword oki setup. You can even do this just after a knockdown without meter, just do the usual place Eddie behind him, use 2-2 heavy slash to cover him while you move him back and do drills, also known as the move That's a Lot. The jump dust is an overhead which is great for using in your pressure after this setup. His example is what happens if they don't block correctly and how it would look. Here is a quick more complicated use of the 2-2 heavy slash setup, with Eddie behind him, this time using Pierce rather than the drills. And here is what happens if they try and mash out of it. Now for all the combo lovers are really here for, the frog loops. The biggest damaging and best situation to get the frog loop combos off is off of a counter hit. Here are examples of going into them off a counter hit 2H with and without Eddie already out. I use Drunken Shade mid-combo as I personally find it more consistent and easier to time, but here's an example of using 2H instead. You do get 6 extra damage, so it is up to you if you think that is worth going for. You can also add 2S into some of these, but again, I wouldn't recommend due to the execution requirement. And of course, you can end in sword oki from the second frog loop. And for 4 less damage, a stronger knockdown and slightly easier execution, you can end with another Drunken Shade. There is also a harder way of doing frog loops in this situation, requiring more use of negative edge. However, this only nets 1 or 2 extra damage, so again, it's up to you if you think it is worth going for. Of course, other counter-hitting moves lead into the loops as well. Using red Roman cancel, you can confirm other buttons into the frog loop setup such as 6P and grab, things that usually wouldn't lead to anything mid-screen. With red Roman cancel, you can even confirm your slow 30 frame overhead kick into a combo without having Eddie already summoned. Your fastest button, your 5P, which you'll be using to poke and punish out of pressure, doesn't amount to much. It is best to get your hit confirms from 5P down, as while it may be easier to mash out another 1 or 2 before the RC, this will scale the combo heavily and be more of a waste of meter. Now here's an example of how to set up into charged dust, which if you catch them with the low you can use mid-combo. And of course if they block the low and get caught by the overhead charged dust, you can get big damage. And here are some alternate dust routes for some swag. There is a way to get 193 damage instead of 190. But it involves very precise timing and this is not something practical, so it is not included here. If you want to see that, go check out the player Silent Shadow who posted it. Whilst editing this video, a new mid-screen Eddie resummon route was discovered by a Japanese player by the name of Ran Repo. In this route, you get Eddie to do one drill while behind an airborne opponent and then combo into a 2K and resummon. Now, we move on to the corner. Here is a frog leap combo involving no negative edge in the corner. The corner is where Zato can be really nasty. Both Frog and Pierce lead into pressure and mix in the corner, and you can throw in overheads or lows whenever you really want to try and catch out the opponent. Remember that dust is a universal overhead and much faster than your 6K, so this will be used in most of your corner and mid-screen pressure. If you can get him to stay on the ground and block drill, you can get guaranteed sword pressure, which of course refills eddy meter, and if you hold K while doing so, it will lead to a drill straight after for more pressure. While holding P instead of K and pressing 2P straight after, you can actually create true gapless pressure doing this. If you want to see a player utilize everything shown in this video properly, then you should check out Gobo, who as of making this video is widely seen as the best Zato in the world. He also incorporates the Break the Law tech himself. As well as using Frog to create pressure and mix mid-screen. Color 4, the Dio color, is his main color, so that is why I thought I'd switch from my main color for this portion of the video. When you hit the overhead dust in the corner without any eddy meter, this is the route Gobo uses with red RC to combo off of it. Here are examples of the kind of pressure Gobo and other players may use after throwing them in the corner. Of course, Zato is a very create your own combo kind of character, and you have a lot of creative freedom with what you're doing and how you decide to catch out the opponent. And finally, Gobo found another corner resummon route, different from the sword route, where you jump cancel the close slash into a downward blue Roman cancel. This causes the first hit of that spike to do a huge amount of block stun, and you can unsummon after the one spike, and because of the amount of block stun they are in, you can go into close slash and get more pressure after. If you've made it into this far in the video, I would like to personally thank you for supporting my content, and I hope I can bring you more in the future. If you are interested in more Zato content, as well as other characters and other fighting games, as well as a variety of other games, then feel free to subscribe to my channel, or even check out my Twitch at twitch.tv/DanteDemons, where you'll see me grinding out all of the puppet characters I can think of, as well as play a variety of other games or even sometimes do art. Thank you.